So now we are at the end of summer here in late August. We've still got all of September to enjoy in terms of gardening too, but it's really made me reflective and made me want to look back at some of the mistakes that I've made in the garden this year. Now, we can all sit back and be proud of our achievements, and that is definitely good, and I recommend you do that to feel nice and motivated. But also, it is good to look back at your mistakes too and learn from them. Learn what you could have done differently so that next year in the garden, your experience is even better. And I've made plenty of mistakes this year, so I wanted to make a video sharing some of those so that you can learn from my mistakes, and we can kind of see if maybe we've made some similar ones too, as I definitely think that's possible. And of course, in the comment section, I invite you to share some of your mistakes as well. So let's jump right into some of the mistakes I've made in the garden in 2025. Also, I'm trying to hit 4,000 subscribers at the moment, so if you want to become a part of our little gardening community, I would absolutely love to have you here. Okay, so the first mistake that I've made, which is a very common one I feel, and I made this last year as well, but didn't really learn from it, is planting way too much. Now, as you can see, I've got a very full border back here in my cottage style garden. And one thing that I definitely made a big mistake of was just going way too crazy with the planting. Now, of course, when you start off in the spring and you've just got a big empty patch of dirt, especially a big border like this, which is pretty big compared to the actual size of my garden, you know, you see that big, massive empty patch of dirt and you think to yourself, okay, I've got to fill this up. This has to be filled up with plants. I don't want to leave too many gaps. You know, I want it to be filled. And I did that. I put in so many plants into this one border, and I very quickly learned over the summer it was too much. Now, yes, I do like a full border, and I absolutely want it to be filled so that we don't have too many gaps. You know, I want very close planting, and I don't want to have to do much weeding either. But there is such a thing as too much, and I definitely did that. You should be more moderate sometimes and consider how things are going to spread out. So most plant pots, when you're planting things, will actually tell you how you should space them. You don't always have to follow that guideline, and I mostly don't, but maybe consider it at least a little bit. You know, I didn't really consider it at all, and I wish I had done that more. So recently, something I've actually gone through and done here is removed a lot of plants. And it's sad, you know, you don't want to have to get rid of things, so I've tried to give them away to other people or put them somewhere else in the garden if I can. But sometimes that option isn't available, and you just have to say goodbye to certain plants because they've been covered up by everything else. You know, I had this massive plant in the middle, the Centuria montana, but it was just dying off because it was getting covered up by all of the other growth here. So I've really tried, sort of now that it's been quite rainy and the ground's quite wet, to move some stuff around and remove plants that I had way too many of. And yeah, it is difficult. It's not an easy decision to make, but I do recommend that you consider, okay, my border might look like this right now, empty at the start of the year, but how is it going to look at the end of summer? Is it going to look way too crowded so you can't actually appreciate any of the plants? Or is there room for more? These are always important things to consider. So this is definitely one big mistake that I made this year that I advise against. I also want to give some advice on the right plant for the right place. So in this border here, right at the front of my garden, this is what I would call a partial shade border, as it very much, you know, gets the sun until about maybe like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it's fully in shade. So I call it partial shade because it isn't really a full 8 hours, at least as far as I can tell. It's just sort of under. So yeah, it does get a decent amount of sun, but it also gets a decent amount of shade too. So here, plants that are labeled as partial shade will do a lot better. For example, this GM Totally Tangerine, it doesn't mind partial shade, and it's done absolutely amazingly in the garden. Same with things like Nepeta. But then you can see I've got other plants here, like this Salvia caradonna, and honestly, it makes me so sad to say this, but I think I'm going to have to move it. Now, the reason why I had this here is because it's an amazing combination with this GM Totally Tangerine. But the problem is Salvia caradonna absolutely loves sun. So I deadheaded this one ages ago, so long ago now, and yet it really hasn't come back with any flowers. And I think that's because it's just not getting enough sunshine here to really keep on growing past the initial sort of spurt that it had. Meanwhile, take this one. Now, the plant is fairly short compared to some of the other Salvia caradonnas I've had, But despite deadheading this multiple times, it still has so many flowers on it, still coming up, and loads of spent ones that were like the second go. So it really does prove to me that choosing the right location for your plants is super essential. You want to make sure that you put them in places that they are going to like. You can't just put them wherever you think, you know, this looks nice. You've got to consider, okay, is the plant actually going to thrive here? And I don't think I thought about that enough. So next year, I'm probably going to move some plants and put in some more, you know, partial shade loving ones. It's sad because some of these combinations are so nice, but at the end of the day, I have to do what's best for the plant, and the combinations might look good, but they're not really going to come through, are they, if it doesn't like the conditions. The next will be not looking after my potted plants enough. Now, some of these are still doing really well, like especially these dahlias, they're doing really good at the moment. But a lot of my annuals this year have really struggled because we've had an incredibly hot and dry year. A really, really dry year, like one of the driest on record, I believe, here in England, especially in my area. And so things in pots, like annuals and such, have really, really suffered badly. And my mistake is not watering them enough. In some cases, it sounds crazy, but you genuinely have to water these things twice a day when they're at their hottest. And I was probably only watering them once every like 3 or 4 days. So yeah, it just wasn't good enough. Definitely, you do need to water things a lot more. If they're in pots and containers, you can't just leave it. You really do have to keep on top of it. So that's a piece of advice I want to give to my future self. Just be a bit more dedicated with the watering. It is a bit, you know, of an effort. You don't always want to go out there and do it, but you've got to do it. Unfortunately, you've got to do it if you want them to look good. I had so many annuals this year that I feel like got wasted because I didn't water them enough. So next year, I'm going to be much more on top of it. I also want to say the same for deadheading. You've got to keep on top of it. There are so many cosmos, for example, out the front of my house that I just haven't really bothered to deadhead because I mostly spend most of my time in the back garden, and they look awful now. They look so bad, and they're not flowering as well. So yeah, again, it is time consuming. Why are all my zebra finches interrupting my video? I don't know. They like to do that. I'm sorry if you can hear them in the background, but they've kind of become a centerpiece of my videos. Anyways, my point is, keep on top of deadheading. If you don't, plants are going to die off a lot quicker, and they just look ugly with all their spent heads, like especially cosmos spent heads. They look really, really ugly. So yeah, it's annoying. It takes a lot of time, but you've got to do it, and you will feel better for having done it. Now this one is for all of you plant growers. We're coming into my greenhouse, which I don't show off too often in my videos, but I want to try and show off a bit more. I've had requests for this. Is don't neglect the plants in your greenhouse. As you can see, so many things in here are just looking completely dead. And that's because once the excitement of actually growing things from seed ran off, and you know, I'd gotten all my favorites out, I just kind of forgot about a lot of these, and I do feel bad for that. I wish I'd paid more attention to some of them and watered them more often, but unfortunately I didn't. So next year, my piece of advice to myself is water things more, keep on top of things more, you know, don't just let things die off in the greenhouse once you get a bit bored with it. You know, look after them because they're good. You've grown them from seed, you put in all that effort, so you might as well, at the very least, look after them. So yes, I'm punishing myself for this. I've not been nearly good enough as I should have been with it. And look at the mess down here. That's another mistake I've made this year, is letting my greenhouse get messy. It's only small, but a mess can be a big problem. So yeah, definitely that's a piece of advice I'm giving to anyone, is don't neglect your greenhouse, even if you're getting a bit bored. Another would be stake plants properly, like this beautiful Heliopsis lemon queen. It's absolutely lovely, it's great, isn't it? But if you don't stake this thing, it will fall over, it will look ugly, it'll drown out other plants and kill them, you know, because they won't be getting any light or anything anymore. So stake it properly, preferably do it early on, it'll make the plants a lot stronger. Don't wait until they're massive like I've done and then they're flopping over in the wind, as you can see. You know, stake them. Definitely stake them, because these plants are unruly. Believe me, this plant in here is so unruly, it's unbelievable. And a few others that have been similar is the yellow Achillea here, cloth of gold. It's been so unruly, it needs staking. What just fell over? Oh, it's my greenhouse is shutting in the wind. What a professional video this is today. We've got the zebra finches shouting in the background. We've got the wind slamming my doors open. Yeah, there's a lot going on in this video. It's all over the place, but you know, I'm feeling tired after a long summer, so forgive me. But anyways, yes, back to what I was saying. Definitely stake those plants because you'll be grateful for doing so. Believe me, they will look a lot better and a lot nicer in your garden once you've done so. So I think that's mostly it. I've definitely made a lot less mistakes this year than last, but there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. It's always good to learn new things, in my opinion, and just, you know, keep on growing. No pun intended. But yeah, keep on growing with your garden. That's the whole goal, in my opinion. You don't want to just, you know, who wants to be perfect at gardening? I don't. I want to keep learning and I want to keep having fun with it. I want to make mistakes and I want to then learn really cool things and be excited about it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section down below some mistakes you've made this year and what you would recommend to other people to avoid. And I very much hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one.